It's January 2007. You're a Nokia executive in the audience at Macworld. Steve Jobs just pulled the first iPhone out of his pocket. Everyone's clapping. But you're not. Because you know, right in that moment, your company is finished. Nokia wasn't run by idiots. They had smart people, great engineers, billions in revenue. But in that moment, you realize you just didn't act early enough. If you want to dominate your market long term, but you are constantly playing catch up, you are missing the single most critical leadership skill of this decade. And it's not just better strategy. Now rewind to 1971. Shell Oil's planning team is sitting in a room asking an uncomfortable question. What if OPEC restricts oil supply? What if prices spike 400%? Most energy companies thought that this was paranoid. Shell built a plan anyway. 2 years later, the oil crisis hits, the worst in history. Competitors lose billions, stock prices crater, operations grind to a halt. Shell? They'd already restructured their portfolio. They specialized in light fuels with fewer substitutes. They increased refining capacity to convert heavy fuels into valuable light products. While competitors scrambled, Shell executed a plan they'd built 2 years earlier. The result? They jumped from number 7 to number 2 in the global oil industry in just 3 years. What's the difference between that Nokia executive and Shell's planning team? One skill. I'm Jan Moosdale. I help current and future leaders move from uncertainty to better decisions and future-ready actions. And I teach these skills at graduate level as well. Everything I share is tested both in the classroom and in real organizations. In this video, I'll show you exactly what this one skill is, why it's not just strategy repackaged, and most importantly, how you can build this capability starting today. Markets don't collapse because leaders are incompetent. They collapse because the context changes faster than leadership habits. Think about it. Nokia, they invented the smartphone category. Kodak, they invented the digital camera. Blockbuster, they had the chance to buy Netflix for $50 million. These weren't stupid companies. They were excellent at optimizing what already worked. But they all made the same mistake. They waited for certainty in a world that rewards early preparation. And that's the problem with how most of us were trained to lead. We were taught to analyze data, optimize performance, execute efficiently. Those skills matter. But they prepare you for a world that no longer exists, a world where the environment is stable, change is incremental, and the future mostly looks like the past. That world is gone. So what is strategic foresight? Think of it this way. Strategy is your plan of action. It's the map you follow to get from point A to point B. Foresight is your radar system. It tells you if the terrain is changing, if a storm is coming, or if point B is even worth going to anymore. Here's why this matters strategically. When you practice foresight, you invest earlier. You avoid brittle decisions. You build options instead of traps. While competitors react, you're already positioned. That's what market dominance looks like today. Fewer surprises, better timing, stronger narratives. You don't look confident because you're certain. You look confident because you're prepared. Now, foresight isn't just one skill. It's a stack of 3 skills working together under pressure. It's what you do when there's no right answer, only better and worse ways to move forward. Let me show you how this works. Future-ready leaders don't wait for trends to be obvious. They notice what everyone else scrolls past. The small, weird, uncomfortable signals that don't fit the story yet. And they ask, if this becomes the norm, what doesn't work in our business? Remember Shell? They didn't have a crystal ball. They had discipline. They asked uncomfortable questions before anyone else thought they mattered. They ran scenario exercises exploring futures most people dismissed as paranoid. That discipline, noticing early before signals are obvious, gave them a 2-year head start. Do you want to train yourself to spot the small, weird signals before everyone else? Then sign up for my initial free horizon scanning email course. Each lesson teaches you a simple, repeatable way to see change early. The link is in the description and in the first comment below. But there's a catch. Seeing change early doesn't help if you can't think through what it actually means. Which brings us to the second skill. Most leaders think linearly. If we do X, we get Y. They only think about direct effects. But the future isn't linear, it's a web. Pull on one thread and effects ripple across talent, culture, technology, regulation. Thinking in consequences means following that ripple, not just the splash. You ask a different kind of question. Not what will this change, but if this happens, what changes because of it? And what changes because of that? Let me give you an example. If remote work increases, what happens to cities? If cities empty out, what happens to real estate, to transit, to restaurants? If restaurants close, what happens to commercial landlords, to municipal budgets? Every action sends a ripple. Most leaders only see the splash. But here's a simple exercise you can do right now. Take any decision you're facing at the moment. Grab a piece of paper and draw 3 circles. In the first, the innermost circle, write what happens immediately when you make that decision. In the second, write what happens because of that. In the third, write what happens because of those indirect effects. Now ask yourself, are these later consequences actually what you wanted to achieve when you made the initial decision? Smart people optimize for outcomes. Future-ready people design for consequences, because in complex systems, what you meant to do and what you set in motion are rarely the same thing. But even if you can see early and think in consequences, there's still one skill that separates thinkers from doers. And this skill is the hardest one and the most powerful. Most people call it risk-taking. I call it intelligent movement under uncertainty, because it's not reckless. It's not jumping blindly. It's designing small, meaningful steps that test the future without betting the farm. Think of it like this. You're standing at the edge of a river you've never crossed. You can either wait until winter when you're certain that the river is frozen, or you can look for stepping stones and cross it step by step. Acting before certainty means small experiments that reveal information, not just hope. It means multiple options, so you're not betting on one scenario. It means iterative learning, fail fast, learn faster, and adjust constantly. The goal isn't to predict the future. The goal is to be ready for any version of it. Let me show you what this looks like in practice. In 2017, Disney's leadership faced a massive decision. Netflix was growing. Cable subscriptions were declining. The question they were asking themselves was whether to protect their traditional TV business or disrupt themselves. Most entertainment companies chose protection. They doubled down on cable. They fought against streaming. They tried to preserve the old business model. Disney asked a different question. In which future do we win? And what do we need to build now to be ready? And here's what they did. First, they bought the capability they didn't have. They acquired BAMTech, a Major League Baseball streaming arm, gaining proven technology and a team that knew how to stream at scale. Then they tested quietly. In 2018, they launched ESPN+, not their crown jewels, a lower-risk learning lab to build direct-to-consumer muscle. Only after proving they could execute did they make the big move. In 2019, Disney pulled content from Netflix and launched Disney+. That's acting before certainty, not reckless, strategic. They didn't wait until streaming was obviously the future. By then, it would have been too late. They built options. They learned iteratively. They moved while competitors were still debating. Real dominance is quiet. It means staying relevant while others scramble, making clear decisions while competitors panic, seeing shifts early and moving before they're obvious. So when I say dominate your market, I don't mean crushing rivals. I mean outlasting them, like in Simon Sinek's Infinite Game. And the leaders who do that all share one skill. The problem is that most leaders are not aware that this skill will decide whether they lead the market or spend years reacting to it. So let's come back to where we started, that Nokia executive watching the iPhone launch. He or she understood the technology. She saw the shift coming, but understanding isn't enough. Shell didn't just understand oil markets might shift. They built scenarios, they repositioned, they acted. The difference isn't knowledge, it's practice. Strategic foresight is a discipline you build, seeing early before signals are obvious, thinking in consequences, not just outcomes, acting before certainty with intelligent experiments. This isn't about predicting the future. It's about being ready for any version of it. This is why scanning matters, and why doing it randomly doesn't work. You need a systematic approach. Watch this video next if you want to go deeper on exactly how to build a scanning system that works for your business.